Live league action. In 2018, the Auckland Rugby League is putting the game in your hands. Never miss a hit from New Zealand's premier rugby league competition. To get the inside edge on where you can watch the action live and free, hit up aucklandleague.co.nz. Live league action. aucklandleague.co.nz.
Oh my
Some
dear.
of the hits in this one. Here.
Love the college rugby league.
Williams again leading the way. Murray getting involved as well. They come back towards the middle of the park. And oh, guess what? Another big hit. Knock on, so what a hit there. Here.
Love the college rugby league.
SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. We are live here at Greyland Park, about to bring you the curtain raiser between the MtAlbert Lions and the Northcote Tigers before we build to the big one. Point Chevalier Pirates taking on the Richmond Bulldogs. Going to take a very short break now before we welcome in the two coaches. We're going to hear a little bit about the curtain raiser. We are joined now by head coach of the Northcote Tigers, Jeff Morton. Well, Jeff, a victory last week, but a bit of a scary finish. Talk us through it.
Yeah, we just buttoned off, mate. You know, no disrespect to Manly, they're a very, very good side. They're going to upset a few teams on the way through this back end of the season. They played different football, and the boys knew what was coming and buttoned off a wee bit, and they came home with a big rush. So, yeah, it was not what we wanted. They've had a bit of a wake-up, hopefully, during the week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Were you able to put your finger on, I guess, what went wrong? Was it just a simple concentration lapse? Or,
Yeah, just switching off.
Yeah.
Our defensive line, making three sets of three times they got a penalty on a set.
Right.
Got down and scored, and we just didn't make any adjustments. So, they've worked on it.
You get David Barner back into your squad, I think his first game last week. A vastly experienced player. What's he brung so far?
As you said, experience. He's his talk's good on the field, and he just brings a calming head to the boys.
You're without Dylan Moses again today, named midweek, but has pulled up. Dylan sort of battling through a few injuries there, or are you just saving him for the business end?
No, there's no saving him, mate. No. He's got an Achilles problem that he's had for a little while now, and it's sort of flared up again during the week. He didn't train Tuesday, tried to train Thursday, wanted to play. Him and I had a bit of a chat about it yesterday, and no, we're going to keep him out this week. But it just wasn't right. So.
You're on a 5-game winning streak, Jeff. What's working so well for you guys right now?
Yeah, I don't know. They said they're just focused. They're trying hard. They're competing. They're starting to believe in themselves a wee bit. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Like a couple of last year, even what happened to us last week, we would have got run down and run over. There's been some games during the season that we haven't played well, and we've got wins out of. Once again, if it would have been last year's team or the team the year before, we would have got run over. So there's a little bit of belief starting to happen, I think, which is good.
You come up against a MtAlbert team who are in a little bit of a slump right now, probably had a bit of a tough week this week. What are you expecting their response to be like?
Rather large, I would presume. yeah, it's something they're probably not used to.
Yeah.
And I'd say there'll be a response to it today. So we're aware that's coming. We're just going to have to see how we can handle it.
You played MtAlbert earlier this year, a narrow loss. What's the key to beating them today?
Worrying about our game, making sure we're doing all our little things right, getting ourselves out of our half cleanly, getting to our kicks, getting our kick chase working, and then the thing that we've got to work hard on is our D, make sure our D's functioning properly.
Jeff, we're going to let you get back to finishing warming up your team, and all the best today.
Cheers.
I'll live.
We are now joined by Keith Hanley, head coach of the MtAlbert Lions. Well, Jeff, probably needless to say, it's been a fairly tough week for you guys. A tough loss last week. You were in the game, but probably just let it slip away.
Yeah, Shucks, that's a pretty good analogy, Corey. Second half, very, very tough. I think 7 penalties and 3 drop balls off the back of that, so we certainly didn't do ourselves any favours there.
I think errors coming out of yardage in particular, a lot of drop ball on sort of plays, maybe 1 and 2, sort of coming out of your own end. That was really your downfall, probably.
Yeah, it's fair to say, like I was saying, we pretty much shot ourselves in the foot,
Yeah.
I think, last week. Coming out of yardage after so much tackling on the back of drop balls and penalties, it's hard work when you're doing that. Yeah.
The discipline issue, is that something you've addressed this week and tried to work on?
In a very large way, mate. That's not our go. The Mount, we're a club that's pretty well known for good discipline and that type of thing, and then we'll be looking to back that up and work with the referee a lot more positively today. Yeah.
No Reece Joyce today, but you have a fairly solid replacement in young Aidan Ackland. Does anything too much change in your game plan swapping those two out?
Yeah, there's we're very fortunate. We're a quality player coming in to replace another high quality lad. There won't be any huge changes. I think young Acker brings a lot of maturity for someone that age, and he's got a lot of class about him, and he's a very good organiser. So there won't be too many changes on that side of our game.
A couple of little subtle changes in your back line as well. Ctas Taulu, who we've seen mostly on the wing this season, he moves to fullback with young Emmanuel Tomovavi Gerard. The thinking behind that?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for young 17, 18-year-olds to come into first grade and play a spot like fullback, isn't it? And Ctas probably gives us a bigger body in the yardage coming back. So there's a couple of the reasons why that change has happened. Yeah.
You come up against a red-hot Northcote team today, 5 wins on the trot. How do you beat them today, Keith?
Yeah, 100%. They're going well. What we're looking at is just sticking to our processes, making sure that we do our job defensively a lot better than we have recently. And where we can, we get good tempo around the ruck and just able to control the ruck a little bit better than we have been doing.
All right, we're not far from kickoff now. We're going to let Keith go and finish preparing his team and have a little look at the conditions down here at Grayland Park. Well, Keith, thanks for joining us and all the best.
Thank you very much, Corey. Cheers, lads.
Cheers. Thanks.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to Grayland Park. We can see on screen the Northcote Tigers going through their preparations. They come into this one red hot, 5 wins on the trot, and have moved inside the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership top 4 for the time being. But first of all, a little look at some of the action going on around the grounds in Auckland, starting with the second division, the Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup. Bay Roskill today, well, their game against Hibiscus Coast won't be going ahead. Hibiscus Coast, due to a horror injury toll, have been forced to default that one, so that game won't be going ahead at Blockhouse Bay. Northern Brothers will take on the ARL Eagles in an intriguing clash at Freiburg Park. That'll be a good one there. Both of those two teams going into that one in pretty good form. Te Aratu take on New Lynn in the West Auckland Derby at Jack Colvin Park. Mount Wellington versus Papatoetoe at Kuhuora. Manurewa take on Pakuranga. Pakuranga with a huge win last week, downing the Otara Scorpions. Manukau meet Ponsonby. Waitamata take on Franklin, while the Otara Scorpions have the bye. And a look at the results last week. Franklin Storm convincing winners 78-4 over the Manukau Magpies. Bay Roskill grinding one out against the Te Aratu Roosters 18-0 to remain undefeated ladder leaders. The Waitamata Seagulls upsetting the Newland Stags 36-12. Manurewa comfortable 36-6 winners over Mount Wellington. Hibiscus Coast got up for a big win. That was a bottom of the ladder clash. That one lifting Hibiscus Coast off the bottom rung, 40-10 over Papatoetoe. Pakuranga, we mentioned it before, they upset Otara 40-4. And Ponsonby, big winners, 48-6 over the Northern Brothers. So what does that do for the ladder? You can see on screen here now at the top, it is the undefeated Bay Roskill Vikings, a perfect 8 from 8, and they are followed by the competition newcomers, the Franklin Storm, who have won 6 and lost the points for one of their draws, the draw earlier in the season. But it's done them no harm. They sit second on the ladder right there, nestled in behind the Bay Roskill Vikings. A wonderful start for Jody Henry's side. Ponsonby follow in 3rd position. The Ellerslie Eagles claim the 4th spot. They've sort of gone under the radar a little bit. Ellerslie but coming along nicely under head coach Wade Brunsden. Te Aratu Roosters, Manurewa Marlins and Otara Scorpions follow on 10 points. Then the next group back, it's a tight one. The Newland Stags, Pakuranga Jaguars, Waitamata Seagulls, Northern Brothers all sitting there on 3-win records. While the Manukau Magpies sit 2 points back on 6 points. Near the bottom, Mount Wellington, Hibiscus Coast, who jumped 2 points clear of the bottom with victory over Papatoetoe last week. And at the bottom of the ladder, still without a victory so far, the Papatoetoe Panthers. So that is how things look in the second division. A little look at what's going on in the first division this week as well around the grounds. Of course, we are about to bring you Northcote versus MtAlbert, and our main game here at Grayland Park will be Point Chevalier versus the Richmond Bulldogs. Elsewhere at Bert Henham Park, Otahuhu take on the Howick Hornets. That'll be a good game. They're next to each other on the ladder, those two sides, and both in desperate need of a win to keep touch with the competition's top 4. Out at Murray Halberg, the Marist Saints take on the Mangere East Hawks. And the Papakura Seagulls, fresh off upsetting MtAlbert a week ago, they take on the Glenora Bears. So that's the other action going on around Auckland today. Let's take a look at the results from last week in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership, and we mentioned it just before. The Papakura Seagulls shock winners 28-24 over the MtAlbert Lions. A huge win for Papakura, which takes them 4 points clear of the bottom. Otahuhu close 14-12 winners over the Marist Saints. Poor old Marist, they've been so close a number of times this year, just can't quite get there. Still looking for that first victory this year. Northcote, well, they survived the late comeback to beat Mangere East 42-38. Howick were comfortable 58-18 winners over Richmond, and the Glenora Bears wrestled control of the Root Rooster and the lead of the competition by beating Point Chevalier 34-14. Let's take a look now at the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership ladder and how it all looks. And with that victory last week, the Glenora Bears have assumed the lead on points percentage. Point Chevalier tied on points with them, but well back on for and against. The next little group, the Howick Hornets, Northcote Tigers, round out the top 4. The MtAlbert Lions sitting on 12 points. The Otahu Leopards looking to keep pace with that top group. And then further back, the Mangere East Hawks, who are doing a good job of putting some distance between themselves and the bottom. Papakura Seagulls, huge win for them last week. It lifts them 4 points clear of the bottom. Richmond Bulldogs, and at the bottom, the Marist Saints still looking for that first victory of the year. So that's how things look in both the first and second division. I'm now going to welcome into the commentary box my co-commentator, Troy Hardy. Well, Troy, Nice day for footy down here. The field probably a wee bit damp around the edges, but the actual field itself is in great nick. We had a good walk around this morning and no real mud, conducive to good footy.
Yeah, hard and fast. I think there's been a lot of work done by the council down here, so big ups to them. Grayland Park is looking in exceptional condition, and I think there's been a wee bit of sand splitting going on, and if you have a look on the screen there, you can actually see the way it's been mowed. Looks really, really tidy. So I think we're in for a fast game today, and as you've said, other than being damp around the outside, no moisture as such or rain to worry about for us here today. So if you're in the area, Grayland Park's where the action's at. Two big action games down here today, Corey, as you know, and come down, join us. The canteen's open. There's wonderful smells coming out of there. Richmond really know how to turn the food on down here. I know that much. And you know, looking forward to a really great game of football between the Lions and the Tigers.
We just saw our match referees on screen on centre field just before. The middle referee today is Simon Taylor, vastly experienced at this level. He'll be supported by Corey Jewell on one side and Harley Wall on the second. Harley Wall coming up from the Bay of Plenty originally, so those are the men to lead the way in this one, and in the case of Corey Jewell, he'll back up and do the main game as well. We're going to have a look at the two team lists here now and how they will take the field, and they pretty well are as named, starting with the Northcote Tigers at the back. Morgan Tamoti Cook, who missed the start of the season through injury but is back. James Waterson and Ted Donnelly are the wingers. In the centres, young Casey Smith joins the now pretty experienced Cole Waka, who spent a lot of time playing with the Vodafone Warriors reserves this year. In the halves, Jordan Tiaho and Eko Malu. Up front in the engine room, Eddie Finota and Matt Tafutu. The hooker is Josiah Afu. In the back row, the captain, Taylor Daniels. He joins the experienced Nalu Tuigamala. And locking the scrum, Xavier Rice. And on the bench for the Northcote Tigers, Joe Bywater, David Barner, the former NRL player, back with his junior club. He's a huge inclusion for the Tigers. Brody Tamarua and Thomas Connick, and they are coached by Jeff Morton. And now a look at the unofficial visitors today, I guess. The MtAlbert Lions at the back, Cortez Taulu. He's played on the wing mostly this year, but assumes the number one position for the time being. Dylan Rota still out injured for the Lions. He's the usual fullback. On the wings, Corey Sita and Emmanuel Tormavavi Gerard. The centres are Roy and Gillett and Smisi Tyrrell. And the halves, Trent Wallace and Aidan Ackland. Up front, Sala Falilua Malio, little brother Johnny Falilua Malio is the hooker. Dion Snell is the other prop. The back row is captain Jared Tua. Paia Palu, Rory Ropati will lock the scrum. And on the bench, Aidan Awe, Koma Sampson, Hoani Rogers-Brown and Matthew Kelly. And MtAlbert are coached by Keith Hanley. So that is how they will take the field today. And Troy, a couple of interesting little movements, notably for the MtAlbert Lions. No Reece Joyce today, but young Aidan Ackland gets another run. We've seen him in action a little bit this year. Would appear to be a pretty seamless transition in terms of what those two players bring. Yeah,
I don't think that's going to be an issue for the Lions, is it? You know, bringing young Aidan into the match, and probably be fair to say, you know, he will certainly add a wee bit of class, and seeing him in at half as opposed to, you know, the last couple of times I think we've seen him in the hooker role, they'll certainly add some speed and dynamic to that position or that role play.
See referee Simon Taylor on screen there, just going through final preparations. We do have our referees mic'd up today as well, so you'll be able to tune in and hear, I guess, their conversations with the players throughout the game. Big shout out to the Referees Association. There it is on the back of the shirt. ARLrefs.co.nz. Jump on, give them a follow on their social media pages as well. It's a great way to, I guess, become involved in the game if you perhaps haven't been a leaguey previously, or maybe your playing days are over and you want to remain involved. It's a great way to do it, and you know, they have a good time as well as obviously getting the job done on the field. Now, Troy, we looked at the MtAlbert Lions and some interesting changes for them, but also the Northcote Tigers, a couple of big ins. David Barner strikes as a big one. A quality forward over the years, spent a lot of time playing for the Auckland Vulcans, obviously came through the Junior Warriors system and has played at those higher levels, but also probably an unsung hero of this team, Nalo Tuigamala. Now, we saw him in action in our live stream game a couple of weeks ago. He was playing in the centres, yeah, mostly in that one. He moves to the back row today. He is a real dynamic attacking weapon in particular for this team.
Yeah, he's got a bit of pace. He's also strong. He knows how to break the tackle, and he certainly knows where the try line is.
So the two teams now making their way to the park. You can see there in the background, MtAlbert Lions assistant coach Cody Walker. We've touched on it a few times. They've got some brains in the coaching staff of these two teams, and one man, Bluey McLennan, overseeing it all, who's pretty handy to have on side as well. John, I know you spent a bit of time with Bluey over the last couple of weeks, and he's always good to talk footy too. I think one of those guys that probably looks at the game a little bit differently than most, and sees things on a deeper understanding with rugby league. So there's plenty of knowledge in that coaching setup, but they're struggling, Mount Albert. 3 losses on the trot, and last week against Papakura, boy, they shot themselves in the foot. They had the chance to win that game a number of times, but errors coming out of yardage, Troy, and discipline was massive for them as well.
Yeah, and when I caught up with Bluey, it was with our stat sheet that I know that you dearly love. And one of the things that certainly took them to task in the beginning of that Kura game was, back-to-back penalties. They got marched down the field, and I think in the preamble build-up with Keith, the head coach, that's something that they addressed over this week at training in regards to their discipline.
Big shout out to the two team sponsors. For the Northcote Tigers, North City Reinforcement Limited, and for the Mount Albert Lions, Russell Gordon Contractors. So it's going to be Mount Albert to receive the ball first.
Okay,
so
stay
Jordan
wide,
Tiaho will get things underway.
When you're ready.
Here we go, round 11 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Northcote Tigers versus Mount Albert Lions.
Ready, contact is good.
And big contact first up. Eddie Finota leading the charge. Has been one of the real consistent players over the last couple of seasons. And again, big physical contact early from Northcote. Keen to make their mark on this one. Finota again involved in that one. So out of the gates with plenty of enthusiasm here. Ackland now on the ball. Spreads it wide to Warden Gillett. Spent some time overseas with the Wentworthville Magpies as Wallace gets to his kick, but it's on the full to Waterson, who looks up. Sees a pretty good kick chase from Mount Albert, but that was a good first defensive set from Northcote. Northcote's first time playing, I guess, a top side in the last few weeks. They did have a good win over Howick a few weeks ago, but other than that, they have probably played teams more down towards the bottom of the ladder in recent times. So a good test to see where they are at. Finota now gets a go on the other side of the ball, but the Mount Albert defense is equally as enthusiastic. Falilua Malio making contact there now. Johnny Falilua Malio has taken a hit there, and he's walking back gingerly in back play as we see Emmanuel Tomavavi Gerard take that one nicely. So we keep an eye on Falilua Malio, who looks to be walking okay now.
A lot of energy on the defense.
Missy Terrell. Haven't seen a lot of them at Fox level this year. Falilua Malio jumps out of dummy half, makes a couple before Xavier Rice takes him down right on halfway. Ackland now looks to the skies. It's a high one. Taulu's under it. Taulu goes up, but Donnelly takes it beautifully, and Donnelly needs to be careful here. He's out, and that's great work from the Mount Albert Lions. Donnelly, he liked his chances to go down the sideline. He did go to ground, but in the end, just too late. Heads up play from Royden Gillett. Picks him up and drags him over the sideline. So advantage Mount Albert with that one. Touched on Royden Gillett earlier. Played some footy at NRL reserve grade level with the Wentworthville Magpies. Appeared on the NRL Rookie Show back in 2016. More recently with the Howick Hornets, but comes across this year along with Reece Joyce and originally Trent Bishop. Although Trent has returned back to Howick since. So back into it they go, and Terrell puts it down on play one. And now Northcote go on the counter. Well, Troy, we spoke to Keith Daly a few minutes ago, and he was very keen to see early tackle errors cut out of their game, and that will not please him at all, because that time Terrell, with no one around, puts it down cold. Now Finota back in to carry.
There's certainly some intent in the tackling out here today, Corey.
Malu shifts it on now to
Up
Tuigamala,
now, then go.
who gets taken 20 out from the line. Afu jumps out now, plays in Tafutu, who we are more accustomed to seeing in the back row, but moves into the 10 today to cover for the loss of Trent Shomkul, who suffered an eye injury a couple of weeks ago. In the win over Otahuhu.
Oh, go last.
Afu to Malu now. Malu gets to the kick, dinks one in behind. The chase is good. Cole Walker, I think it is, following in. Loose ball. Malu's dived on it, but we're going to be called back for a knock on. MtAlbert jogged this one back out. Northcote aren't getting back, and they're in a little bit of trouble here because Wallace is tapped and gone. Had young Ackland looming up in support. Instead takes the tackle.
Oh, 0. Restart, turn. Good one.
Quiney Rogers-Brown, a late call up to the starting side.
Oh, good two.
Played for the Auckland Māori under-20 a few weeks ago at the Upright Access Man Cup.
Restart, 6 up. Thanks, mate. I'm listening. Oh, good one, mate. Thanks, bro. Take that. Trainer, hydrate enough, please. Movement. Up now. Oh, good two.
Ackland now gets the ball now, looks up.
Thought
Thought he spotted a little gap. Last tackle coming up now. Trent Wallace on the ball, looks high now. Taulu chasing aggressively. Another tester for Donnelly, who's safe as under that high ball and goes to ground 10 metres out from his line. Ted Donnelly, Troy, we were talking about it midweek. Probably a different build to most wingers in the Fox. He's tall and lanky, I guess would be the...
He's got a wee bit of pace though, and he knows how to use his body effectively.
Very good under the high ball as well, Ted Donnelly. Big contact there.
Oh, driven.
Coma Sampson puts him down. Sampson, another of the Auckland boys to return after stints overseas. Played some footy in France and in Australia. Of course, was one of the leading players of that Junior Warriors team that won the comp in 2014. Now, I think that may be a 40-20. We're going to wait for confirmation here. But that is the way it looked off the boot to me. And if so, that's a brilliant play. They had Tomavavi Gerard scrambling. Although it's MtAlbert still with the ball, so maybe it's just short of the 40-20. Certainly, from our vantage point, looks like it's gone over the 20, so maybe he was a little bit over the line. We'll wait for confirmation from referee Taylor.
Okay. Billy Black.
So it will be MtAlbert to feed. Good kick nonetheless, which gets them into good field position. Royden Gillett now tasked with carrying that one out. Runs it at Malu, who's got the bodyguard there in Rice to clean it up.
Move on the line.
Tafutu there, working over too hard. And the first penalty of the game, I believe.
Correct.
Goes in favour of the MtAlbert Lions.
Been a good first start to the game. Both teams are doing very well on their completion rates. 3 for 3.
Whailua Malio straightens.
Good one.
Rogers
Oh,
Brown, boy, runs it straight into Finota, who has dished out some punishment already. The game's only 8 minutes long. Daniels that time up and in. Coma Sampson, though, driving those legs nicely. He's had some classy touches already. Cully now.
Oh, good four.
Whailua Malio swings out to the left edge. Wallace to Tyrrell.
One last on the line. Oh, go last.
Wallace now gets his kick cross-field. Up they go, Taulu under it, but knocked it on. So the second error of the game for MtAlbert that time. Cortez Taulu going up for it, and he had a little bit of work to do, probably just thinking about the next job at hand before he was able to reel that one in. So Northcote survive it. We've seen a couple of kicks go down that side already. Ted Donnelly now.
Right in. Hold. Go one. Release now! Release! Hold.
And now Northcote get their first penalty. So Timothy Cook earning the penalty that time. Malu will kick for touch. Eko Malu, he's been around the Auckland scene a long time now. Spent a number of years at the Howard Hornets before coming across to Northcote. Before that was part of the Junior Warriors setup.
Movement! I'm now 7. Good.
Matthew Tafutu, straight and hard, takes them up over halfway.
Hold. Good. Better 17.
Finota now
Movement!
heads back
Steady.
towards the ruck.
Hold. Go. One mark out. 17. Stay up.
Oh,
Movement. Let him up.
Up quickly though is Coma Sampson, just closing things down there.
they've let him run a wee bit there.
One
Tighten
mark.
that
Let
up
him
around the
up,
ruck.
Last tackle coming up. They swing it out to the right where Malu waits. Malu now will look to the sky. Casey Smith chasing in hard, but it's an easy one at the back for Corey Cta, who takes that one with ease.
Zero come in. All on side yellow.
Back out to the 20, but Northcote is set. Good effort from the Tigers to get back. Makes another 12 metres though, Corey Cta. Tomavavi Gerard played fullback last week, moves to the wing this week. Such a talented kid, still a teenager.
Release now. Oh, good. Move. There we go. Better. Go through. One marker.
Falilua Malio jumps out.
Play on. Off road.
Afu tackles, ball loose. Rogers Brown does well to get to it.
Here we are. Go for. Good. That's good.
Wallace dinks one over the top. Tricky one at the back. Northcote, they're going to be taken into touch here.
Lock on by man over the
They
field.
didn't have much of a choice there. It was a dangerous bouncing ball. Waterson had to make a play at it and was always up against it to remain in the field of play. So pretty fast start to this one, Troy. A couple of penalties and a couple of errors, but other than that, a high-quality game. Both teams showing plenty of energy on both sides of the footy.
Yeah, a lot of chat out there too, especially from the MtAlbert side. You know, you heard them when they were on the D. They were really encouraging each other to get up fast, you know, fast line speed. Completion rates are looking pretty tight for both sides, you know, and they're coming off the back with good picks as well. So at this stage, you know, even the territory looks like it's 50-50. And here come the Tigers again, grinding it out from inside their tent.
Keep coming, keep coming. Good one. Release now!
Another penalty, late flop in by Falilua Malio. The call that time. Timothy Cook thought about the quick tap and go. Instead, Malu will kick for touch.
It ended up on the Richmond club rooms by the sounds of it.
Cole Waka.
Oh, great tackle.
Good technique from Ackland down low.
Must have got that from his mother.
Nalu Tuigamala now driven back.
Oh, good.
For those wondering, Aidan Ackland being the son of Coach John Ackland, currently with the Otahu Leopards.
Good free.
Finota runs it straight at Ropati, who meets him head on.
Here we are, hold, hold.
Brutal in the middle of the field so far. Afu. Malu goes backdoor to Timothy Cook. Something cooking on the left edge now. Waka taking the ground. Good defence from Royden Gillett. Malu kicks across the body. A little trick play that time from Eko. Not a bad thought, but the execution a little bit off. MtAlbert survived that one.
Movement, let him up. Hold, zero. Release down, Taylor. Hold, hold, go one.
Dion Snell
Movement, 7 up. Hold.
onto the field. Fresh legs for MtAlbert.
Release down, Taylor. Good. 3.
Ackland comes back inside to Ropati. Takes him up over the 40.
Hold, good 4.
Wallace to Snell. Snell straight and hard.
5 last.
30 metres out from the line now, MtAlbert. A good set so far. Just as we say that, Dion Snell with the sloppy play the ball. And it is handover. So plenty of errors already for this MtAlbert team. That's their 3rd of the game. And it was their major work on this week as well. They'll be disappointed with that. We can see actually a little conference going on with Keith Hanley and Brian McLennan on the sideline. And needless to say, assistant coach Cody Walker, when he enters the field, the message will be pretty clear. Clean it up. That's what killed us last week. And so far, while Northcote haven't been able to take advantage on the scoreboard, you have to wonder.
Reach down, 14. 10, 19,
So the Tigers now getting us back underway. Taylor Daniels puts his hand up for a carry, but is driven back. Sala Falilu Amalio involved in that one, as well as Rogers Brown.
Good
Finota
offload.
gets to his offload, and Rice is taking the ground. Ackland comes in to finish over the top with help from Ropati. Afu to Malu. Now they work it down the left edge. Cole Waka ragdolled to ground by Royden Gillett. Donnelly, they centre infield to Tafutu, who's looking for a small body to run at. Fends off a couple.
Hold. Good.
Tiaho, under heavy pressure, gets to his kick, but it's a easy one at the back for Sita, who claims it.
Up 3 hands clear. Hold 1. Movement. All the way now, 3. Lock and markers. Hold.
So Northcote looking pretty keen to come down this left edge where Cole Waka and Ted Donnelly live.
Good 3.
It's also the side Eko Malu is patrolling. Cortez Taulu now takes it forward.
Movement.
Runs it at that man, Malu.
Inside. Good 4. Stay on. Release down, 5 last. Hold, go last.
Ackland, who's hit hard by Eko Malu, and it's going to be a penalty at the end of it. And he never wrapped the arm that time, Eko Malu, which is, I think, what the penalty is for.
Shoulder charge.
Now the thing with this one, Troy, the penalty comes where the ball landed, so this is a massive one, and they're going to get marched another 10 for back chat. And now we're going to have time off and a lecture, so it goes from bad to worse for the Northcote Tigers. Someone's given referee Taylor a serve on the way past. He's having none of it.
There's a shoulder charge. Picked up a back thing and tucked that.
Yeah, Captain 7 and talking to on that one.
Can't be a fuck off. That's the last one to have it. Otherwise, we have to go to the 3.
Tigers will be under a wee bit of pressure
Yeah,
now.
but shoulder
Now
pad.
they'll be looking to try and turn this opportunity into a try.
So MtAlbert now, after a scoreless opening,
Yep.
16 and a half minutes, look to get on the board. Falilu Amalio passed with the first carry.
Reach down,
They average 23 points scored per game this year, MtAlbert, so they do have plenty of points in them. Ackland now goes out the back door to Corey Sita, who looks like he's filling in at fullback. He gets over the line, but is held up.
Held up. Held up. It'll be tackle 2. Corey said it'll play the ball. On the 10. Tackle 2. When you're ready, Corey. Tackle 2. 3 company.
Rory
Movement!
Ropati
Let him up!
drawing
Xavier!
legs, takes
Good
them
3.
to 8 out from the line. Ackland now runs it. Aiden Ackland! Brilliant try. Aiden Ackland tucks the ball under the wing and says, I'll do it myself, boys. Darts through a little gap. He had some work to do. Let's take a look now on the SAS replay. It was a good carry from Rory Ropati here.
He dragged in a couple of defenders there, and look, you see in the slow motion there, Aiden starting to direct traffic. He was shaping them all up.
Now, I'm not sure. He's walked well off the mark there, has Ropati. We'll get back to that soon, but you can see here, Ackland, it's great work, breaks the initial tackle of Timothy Cook, and then crashes his way over. But by walking off the mark, Ropati basically takes the markers out of the action. So I'm not too sure The exact ruling on that one.
Seeing the two cousins there on the replay, I'm sure the Rowe Party family and the Ackland family will be wrapped with that.
Yeah, good. It's when there's a break, the players.
So we're waiting for the kick to come. Looks like young Ackland's going to be doing the conversion.
The other one is a bit slow to get on side. They're stopping short. If there's more than 10 minutes to go back.
Loving the replays today.
Yeah. So just keep an eye on it.
He actually, you know, he's not a big man.
Oh, he did well to break that first
Yeah,
tackle,
yeah.
didn't he?
He's deceptively strong. Must be like mum.
Ackland to convert his own try, and no cigar this time, pushes it to the left. So the score remains MtAlbert Lions 4, Northcote Tigers 0. 19 minutes gone here at Greyland Park. The curtain raiser to the round 11 schedule of live streamed games.
Thank you. Stay behind. Time your run. On your 9. Mine's good. Okay, back a bit close.
So Dion Snell to get play back underway.
Up now, Taylor! Hands there. Good. 1.
Jared Tua
Movement!
started off the bench.
Yeah, good. 2. Release now! Oh, good. He's good.
So MtAlbert rolling
kid.
through the middle
It was me.
with a little ease now. Pawani Rogers-Brown hands off to Snell, who's
One
cut down
last,
40 out from the line. Last tackle coming up.
Good last.
Falilo Malio swings it to Ackland. The ball touched in flight. Cleaned up by
Move
Northcote
now.
anyway.
Good.
Donnelly now comes in looking for a bit of work.
Right and up. Oh, good 2.
One of a number of players to come across to Northcote Tigers from
Release now, 30.
rugby union in recent times.
All the way, 5-5, a stopping shot. Good 3. Thank you. Move! Up now!
He's bobbled it.
Knock on
Lost.
in the play, and then the ball kicked away by Xavier Rice. We're lucky not to incur a penalty on that one as well.
Right on the halfway.
Bit of frustration starting to come in now for the Northcote Tigers, who started the game pretty positively.
Trainer.
And looks like we may have a blood bin for
Back mate.
Taylor Daniels by the look of it.
Yeah, leading up to that try, Corey, you know, came off the back of a penalty. They completed a set. They then had back-to-back. Then there was a wee bit of a chat with the referee. They got marched. And then that last set, MtAlbert strung it all together. Aiden went over and scored.
Let's go, fellas. Nice and tight seconds. Down, Morgan. In red turn. Out!
Ackland brings Gillett back in on the
Move
angle.
now! Save you up! Good 1.
Tackled down low by Tuigamala.
Good, mate.
Paia
Move
Palu.
now!
They just about swapped out their entire starting pack, MtAlbert Lions, from that which was named. Dion
Move
Snell
now! Oh,
bumping forward.
good 3.
Wallace down the left edge. Terrell
Hands away! Roll away, 11. Oh, good 4. Careful, Xavier. 4, don't go early.
Falilo Malio shakes
One
off
last,
the first
put the
one
line.
from Finauta, who hangs
Good
on
last.
to
Play on.
finish the job, and now they shuffle play on. Ackland goes to the line, dinks it over the top. Donnelly's got it, look out.
Move now!
Luckily for MtAlbert, a couple of bodies there to slow him down. Now Timothy Cook jumps out,
2 now! Release!
looking to get things moving here now, Northcote. Tuigamala now off the back fence.
Move! 12! Oh, working. Good 3.
Daniels
Up now,
taken down
JT.
low by Terrell,
Hold,
finished off by
4,
Tua.
4.
Oh,
Big contact from
Offload, 4.
Ropati and Falilo Malio, but they keep it alive. They spin it out the
One
back
last,
to
sir.
Timothy Cook, who's tackled 42
Oh,
off his own line.
Outside, outside.
Afu
outside.
gets to his kick.
One coming. Back.
Gone
Cta at the back. So we've seen another positional reshuffle here. Ctas Ta'ulu playing on the right wing. Corey Sita playing the fullback role. Emmanuel Tomovavi Gerard on the other wing. And there's a real feature of this Mount Albert team, how versatile so many of these guys are. Look at the back line. Any of them could play fullback or wing. Players like Aidan Ackland who can swap between either half position or hooker. As Dion Snell now coughs up the error.
I think that's his second error for today too, just quietly. He won't be happy with that personally.
Yeah, a bit of a rough start since coming on for Dion Snell, who has the right leg pretty heavily strapped.
With me, fellas. In line here, thanks, fellas. Cheers, boys. 2 more steps. Yeah, fellas. Nice and tight, eh? Nice and tight. I'm coming, Booksy, I'm coming now. Let's go. Gotta be behind me. Down, fella. You right, Johnny? Let's go, man. Hold for the ref, boys. On your 6. Out!
Malu gets things back underway now. Waka.
Move now, right in!
New Zealand Defence Force Sportsperson of the Year.
Play on.
Tremendous honour for Cole Waka and all he's achieved this year.
How! Let him go! Hold 2. Lock on, left on.
Dominant tackle there, and there's an error in there as well. So errors both ways in the last 5 minutes. And this time, Mount Albert, the beneficiary.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, mate. What's that? Not on the knees, arms and ball. On the line, fellas. Thanks, boys, holding here. All the way black. Let's go. Hold, boys, just wait for the ref. Everyone foot on the line, please.
They met earlier this year in round 2. It was Mount Albert Lions 14-12 winners over Northcote in a thriller.
Bump to the ground.
Hold 1.
Big contact again. Joe Bywater, fresh legs on the park for Northcote. Falilua Malio, who's decked by Bywater, gets up and gives it another go. So he's making himself known early on as Big Joe. Still rocking the mo. Dion Snell now back on the inside.
Oh, let him up, 4. 1 marker.
Left side they come, Wallace to
5
Tua.
last turn. Hold 2.
And in back play, we're going to miss it in our cameras, but there is a scuffle going on involving Taylor Daniels and Jared Tua. By the look of it, in the meantime, play is going to continue. But I tell you what, the action on the other side of the field is starting to heat up as well. And it's now got a number of bodies in there. Johnny Falilua comes in to grab a shirt. Taylor Daniels isn't too impressed with it. So a number of little flare-ups going on here. I'm not too sure what started that one. Taylor Daniels bleeding badly from the nose. So time off in the meantime.
Be interesting to see how this unfolds. We'll see if we can't pick up some of the audio from the referees.
2 captains, please.
Taylor calling them out for a chat now.
Okay.
Just listening to what he has to say.
I haven't seen what caused it because it's still play going. What's happening there? Let's cut it out. It's been a good game of footy until now, eh? So let's carry on with that. Here is a head-eye tackle. Nothing, it's just a careless tackle. Taking off the head, okay? Alrighty? Let's not have any bloody, tension coming to this game. It's been a good game.
Big shout out to our major
Here are the
sponsors,
frustrations by doing it legally,
Apparel.
tackling and playing ball, okay? Here's a pin over here. Yeah, you got the mark.
So Mount Albert penalty at the end of it all, after a little bit of excitement over on the opposite side of the field to where the action was happening. So back-to-back sets coming up now for Mount Albert. Falilua Malio taps and goes, and Koma Sampson back on the field. He's just replaced Falilua Malio.
Hold. Up now!
There's going to be a little bit of intent for the next part of the play here.
Just wait till it comes out to this left edge now as we see it's about to kick off again, I think. They've left it in the end, but Northcote have turned it over. So there is some heat in this one.
Oh, good.
And why not? Top 4 spot on the line.
Hold.
A key game for both teams now. David Barner on the field, about to get his first touch, his second game of the year. And they get the penalty there, Northcote. They were appealing for it and eventually got it.
It's around the head of the tackle. Yeah, around the head of the tackle. As he got off, yeah, grabbed
Yeah, MtAlbert had all the territory there, and silly penalty. Northcote get let off, and out they come.
Good, everyone's good, play on.
Taylor Daniels now.
Good now, deal up. Hold.
30 out from the line. Here come the Tigers. Their best chance of the game so far. Rice plays at the line to Banner.
Release now, come up. You are.
Joe Bywater, who's grabbed around the neck by Snell. Northcote are appealing it. Play on is the call. Snell with a few choice words to say to Bywater. Timothy Cook now throws it across the body to Donnelly. Looked like it was fairly well covered anyway, but the ball spills loose. So good defence from MtAlbert.
Good crowd down here today too at Grayland Park. A lot around the outside of the sidelines and the fields, especially up in the Richmond Hills there. Down here at the Dog Pound, the home of the Richmond Rovers.
Let's go, fellas. Wait for that red score, Black. Nice and tight, eh? Nice and tight. Let's go down seconds. On your end. On your mate.
So Ackland to feed the scrum. 28 minutes gone here at Grayland Park.
You need to stand square, not to your goal line. Let's go. Wait. Aiden, stand square. Yep, when you're ready. Out!
Terrell, good carry.
Good now, let him up!
He's had some frustration so far out there on that left edge, but earns the penalty this time. So a bit of ill discipline starting to come into it now. The penalty count starting to rack up. Wallace puts this one into touch. They'll start the set 40 off the line.
On the line.
Lost the Steedon into the trees of one of the properties there. I'm sure a friendly neighbour will come out and assist us with that one.
We'll put it on Trade Me.
Snell. Barner involved as well. They pick him up and eventually get him to ground. Dion Snell fighting, gets to a penalty. David Barner saying he's been holding my shirt.
Cheap penalties. You can see the trainer Cody Walker on. He's trying to, you know, just calm them down a wee bit and talking about running certain lines out here for the guys on the edge.
Ackland puts the ball into touch.
Here we are, fellas. Here we are. Oh.
So MtAlbert now keen to get it going. Royden Gillett with the first carry.
Go up. Oh.
Watch for Dion Snell and Coma Sampson. Here's the first of them. Sampson driving those legs. Had Palu looming in support. Some big bodies on the field right now for MtAlbert. Wallace goes out the back door to Cta, who thought about playing on. Terrell probably just overran him. Tomovavi Gerard back to his chief playmaker in Wallace. Now Palu runs up over Bywater at first, but he holds on down low to Big Joe. Falilo Malio now looks to pirouette his way over. Still fighting now. Right up against the line. Wallace plays short. It's picked up by Northcote. They've survived it. That is good defence from the Tigers, who now try and get out of trouble. Wallace caught Casey Smith high originally. Play on is the call. He's made a number of metres after that anyway, Casey Smith. Afu piggybacks on an offside player for a few metres. Eventually taken down under the weight of Coma Sampson.
Made good meters on this set.
Now, Johnny up.
Just short of halfway.
Hold 3.
Middle of the tackle count. Malu shuffles play on now. Cole Waka. Waka into a little bit of space, but well contained by Gillett, who's done a job on him so far. Malu gets to the kick. It's a high one. No pressure on Cta at the back. Takes a horrible bounce, but eventually cleans it up. I thought for a minute there, him and Tumavavi Gerard might take each other out.
Up now, son! Oh.
Calls have lost it from Northcote. Play on us the call from Taylor. Tua runs it at Bywater.
Oh, good 3.
Shuffle on now. A little trick play out the back is broken down. They're going to get away with it. Borderline knock on.
Oh, 4.
Ropati now straightens, but he's met up and under by Toigamala. Aiden Awe onto the field, fresh legs on at hooker. David Varner with a heavy kick pressure on Ackland. Back the call, Donnelly cleans up. But we're going to get a knock on at the end of it. One thing I have noticed in this game, Troy, pretty end-to-end really, isn't it? Both teams, with the quality they've got on the forwards, have both been able to roll down the park pretty easily. And as a result, most of the last tackle plays we're seeing are ending up being attacking kicks.
Yeah, absolutely. They've both teams have been very, very good on the completion and, you know, getting to their kicks early. And the tempo's been pretty upbeat for both sides. You know, they've really tried to go hard out of the play the ball area.
Wait for their ref call. Down. Yep, ready. Out now!
Little push in the scrum. Hang on. Here's a throwback. Poor old Aiden Ackland's at the bottom of it. He's had half his own team fall on top of him, as well as a few Northcote players.
There's a bit of Jeff Morton craftiness for you.
Oh, good 2.
Awe jumps out, hands it to Dion Snell, who's met. Boy, hasn't Joe Bywater been busy since coming onto the field. Real unsung hero of this Northcote team. Paiapalu.
Up now, Xavier! Clear up! Oh, 4.
Awe to Ackland. Ackland plays short to Ropati, who's tackled nicely by Thomas Connick. Fresh on the field, last tackle coming up. Wallace dribbles a little kick in behind. Waterson chasing it hard. Waterson, he's got some work to do here. Does Waterson plays it as well. Kolwaka, they're going to get out.
Great stuff.
Stunning play there from James Waterson, who was racing along the back of the in goal and had the bravery to play it on to Kolwaka and get out of the in goal. Big play for his team. David Barner takes it forward, but MtAlbert's line speed the winner so far. Until then, they get the penalty at the end of it. Ted Donnelly breathing a big sigh of relief after that error on the kick.
Heard the call from the Lions. Only 5 left in the half. They're thereabouts. We'll just get a time check on that.
David Barner. Another tackle for Rory Ropati, who up there with the leaders in the tackle count for MtAlbert so far. Bywater, another penalty.
Not quick.
Referee Taylor calls him back and says we'll do that one again. You can hear Brian McLennan on the sideline. It's about tempo, boys. It's about tempo.
Wait for the step, yellow.
And he knows that on that set there in particular, they were struggling to foot it with Northcote with their enthusiasm. Joe Bywater now runs it straight at Dion Snell.
Good work. 1.
Malu to Barner. Barner thinks about playing at the line. Instead, holds on. 10 out from the line. 5 to go in the half. Left edge they come. Connick hands it off to big Brody Tamarua, the Northland boy. Connick to Rice. Rice takes a settler right in front of the SAS uprights.
Hold. Give him room. 4.
Slow play the ball. Out the back they go now. Tiaho to Daniels. Daniels with the footwork and the offload. Tiaho now dancing his way through. But it's good defence from MtAlbert. Faultless so far. Connick dribbles a little kick in behind. Ackland is the man closest to it. It's messy, but it's knocked dead. And we're going to get a MtAlbert ball out of that. It was hard to tell, there was bodies everywhere, but MtAlbert back to the 20 to restart. So good defence, Lions. They survived that one once again.
Movement! 0! Go, no markers.
Nice little hop out of the half. Still
Brilliant
going.
run from Cortez
Release down,
Taulu.
lead him up. Back where your man is.
Tried to steal another 5.
Playing to the whistle.
Referee Taylor says, back you go. Tomavavi Gerard.
Hold, Xavier. Hold. 3rd 2. Now play on.
Jared Tua, former Auckland Vulcan. He spent some time over in Australia. Ball out the back, put down by Gillett.
Knock on and pick up.
So while the intensity has been high, so has the error rate. And another one there, really probably just a lack of patience.
Let's go, fellas. We're tired of him. C19, hold for the ref. Hold the line. Go, Xavier. Seconds down. Hold there, 19 and 2. Out.
Timothy Cook now hands it off to Waterson, and now there's a bit of a foot race on. Waterson cut down low, along with some support staff as well. So that was a bit of a scary situation for a minute there.
Harley, Mount ball.
There's a wee bit of intent around the place, isn't there?
MtAlbert keen to pack the scrum down. They want another attacking opportunity in this half.
ARL, not NRL. I think they're backing around too much.
And as far as I can tell, we still don't have time off, so not too sure
Go, Dave.
why time hasn't been
Morgan,
blown
down.
off. Back underway we go. Ackland. Oh, Ackland slammed to ground.
Oh,
And boy, he would have felt that one. To his credit, straight back up to his feet. Royden Gillett now bumps it forward.
release down, Xavier.
Marlow involved in the tackle.
2.
Coma Sampson. The middle battle today has been outstanding already. The good news is there's another whole half to come, ladies and gentlemen. Awe now with the error at dummy half. And now we're going to have a little fight for the ball as well. Northcote perhaps fancying their chances.
Now they're trying to get a scrum down. Northcote bind, ready to roll.
Thomas Connick asking the question why we can't have time off. There's obviously a reason, because referee Taylor very sure in his answer that's not happening.
Let's go, fellas. Down. Wait for me. When you're ready. Take a step, 19 second, Aiden.
So Connick to feed the scrum, and now they're going to come out to the blind side. Waka puts on a little bit of footwork, flirting with the sideline, fighting for a quick play of the ball. Siren goes in the background. Penalty to end the game on. Cole Waka looking to tap and go.
So they got a penalty off that.
So the kick for touch, they're going to get one play to work with here. The Northcote Tigers.
Drop goal, Corey. Maybe not.
Connick. Backdoor to Rice, who misses one out, plays to Daniel. Now they're going to go down the right edge. Casey Smith stands up, flicks the ball out the back. It's hot potato stuff. Taking the ground. That'll get us to half-time. It is the Russell Gordon MtAlbert Lions 4, North City Reinforcement, Northcote Tigers 0. Do stay with us. A very short break here at Greyland Park before we resume the second half.
Yep, we've got a little bit of a highlights package coming up as the guys go to team conference at this point. And a big welcome to everybody down here to Grayland Park. This is the curtain raiser, MtAlbert Lions up against Northcote Tigers as we get ready for the match of the day. Richmond Rovers are hosting the Auckland Rugby League down here, live streaming, brought to you by our live stream partners Ctas. And they'll be having the local derby as the Point Chevalier Pirates roll into town. Notice they said roll in and not sail a boat in. That was for Corey's benefit. Okay, we're going to go to the halftime break, have a look at a couple of highlights from the week. Don't go too far away, ladies and gentlemen. This is shaping up to be a cracker.
Live league action. In 2018, the Auckland Rugby League is putting the game in your hands. Never miss a hit from New Zealand's premier rugby league competition. To get the inside edge on where you can watch the action live and free, head up aucklandleague.co.nz. Live league action. aucklandleague.co.nz.
The field, Puil on the footy off the bench. Watch him change the game when he comes on. Now Phoenix Hunt jumps out. Phoenix Hunt, he's caught them napping. And Phoenix Hunt will open the scoring with a cheeky little dart out of dummy half. The Papakura Seagulls are on the board now. Wallace goes short, brings in
Great offload.
Palu. They keep it alive, and there we go. Trent Wallace it is, who crosses, and MtAlbert hit back.
Drop it on the inside.
Footy, Tuiloma, footy, here he is! We're going to need to check the grounding, it's all good, Tuiloma, footy. Wallace now to Miski, Isaac Miski, oh the footwork, Isaac Miski! For that quick play the ball, Cully is the dummy half, they spin it now, half to half, Trent Wallace straightens up, Wallace, beautiful offload! Wallace brings Palu in, Palu still firing, Tomabavi Gerard, that's the try!
This game, haven't they?
Have indeed. Some really good footy, both Jamal and Phoenix. Now they go short side. Ika Ehito, he'll be hard to stop. Be more than hard to stop. He just won't do it. Jamal Hunt, too
inside,
big, too strong, under the posts. Last tackle coming up. They jump out of dummy half. He's going to go close. He scored it. Feeling Snell. Evian Hunt. Uwasi now plays at the line. Ropati now, they're into open space down the side of the field. Kiria steps back inside, Junior Kiria! I think he's there. He scored it, Junior Kiria. For one of the upsets of the season, Hifo, two-handed carry, takes it down. There's the siren. And the Manaya Homes, Papakura Seagulls, 28. Beat the WH Fury Limited, MtAlbert Lions, 24. What a game.
Be a bell ringer. Here they come. Here come the Pirates.
So let out by
Guard them on it.
Nakawi at the front there. A lovely touch from the club today. The All Point Chevalier Pirates making their way out with the ball boys in tow. Tippins to Manukia, who plays at the line now. Tode brings Siaki in. Siaki to A'alo. A'alo with the fend. Toa A'alo. A'alo is going all the way. There it is. 4-0 down early. Pai puts the kick across. Now they're in driver's space. That is lovely work. Jeremiah Pai. The wrong team have at their disposal now. Hannum flicks the ball at the back. We've got a numbers advantage here. Hamiluaki throws the cut out. There it is. And it is Simon Luafalialo. Tippins, dummies to the right. So they go left, up and in defense. Alo, has he finished in the corner? I think he has. Ruili Buchanan. He's over. Daniel Ruili Buchanan. Been so far from the Pirates. Tippins kicks in behind. Tolday. Jordan Tolday. They're in again. Glenora. Tolday goes to the line. Tolday. Jordan Tolday just as well. Michael Key managed to hold on there. Although they're in again. Taylor points to the spot right in front of the SAS uprights. They've got the back door now. A'alo gets the offload away. Ruili Buchanan finishes in the corner.
Latu to Pai, looping ball over the top. They should have them here. Nice finish, Sula Solomon. Alessio plays out the back door to Makawi, who brings Faitoa in, and that's nice. Is it going to stand? We're going to wait for a little conference of the referees. It is. So well done, Point Chevalier. And there it is. The Rope Rooster is heading back to Glenora. Glenora Bears 34, Point Chevalier Pirates 14.